Alright y'all, what is good? Today I'm going to be trying a new style of video. Today I'm basically just going to be going over all of the media that I consumed over the past couple months. I think going into the future I want to do this like monthly, but since this is my first one, I'm going to kind of go over pretty much everything for the year up until this point. So January, February, March, and April, because it is May 8th right now. Basically in this video I'm gonna just be going over music, movies, books, and social media that I've been consuming that I thought was significant, things that just let y'all know my thoughts and my insights on everything, and hopefully y'all can find something that y'all can take away, but also just in an effort for myself to be more mindful of the things that I consume and to retain them and to keep the information that they are telling me, to keep that with me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, with that being said, hopefully y'all enjoy this video. You know what I'm saying? Definitely feel free to go check out any of these forms of media. I'm gonna try and leave enough information so that y'all can go find them on your own as well. And yeah, with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, y'all, so I got my iPad with me. The first topic we're going to be going over today is going to be music. I'm going to do top artists, favorite songs, notable albums, and then concerts that I went to. So to start with the artists, my first top artist for January was Insight. My second top artist for February was King Cruel. My third top artist for March again was Insight. And then my last one for April was Larry June. So back in January, we'll go back to January 1st. January was a little bit of a weird month just because I completely reset all of my music stuff. So I used to have hella playlists on my old account. I made a new account and just completely reset everything. So I didn't have anything. And basically the one album that I kept going to play was Insight's Mi Casa Su Casa. I would literally just be bored. Like, I want to listen to this, so I would just go and I'd play it. And that's basically why he has so much listens for this month, because I was literally just like, basically it was kind of just a continuation of stuff I was already listening to, and I was just kind of listening to my favorite stuff at the time. So yeah, and then once we get to February, King Cruel really held it down. This is when I realized how much I like the album. Is it called? I'm pretty sure it's called Space Heavy. I just know there's a song on there called Space Heavy, but that album, I'm really bad with album names and song names sometimes. But yeah, that album, this is when I realized how much I like that album. When I first originally got introduced to King Cruel in like August, I was just listening to his first album, 6 Feet Beneath the Moon. And then I listened to the one, the Archie Marshall one, and then the Space Heavy. I listened to all of those, but I was mainly listening to 6 Feet Beneath the Moon. So this time I really went back to Space Heavy, and I realized how much I like that album, because I do like a lot of songs on there are just a lot of my favorite songs just in general now because of that. And then back in March, Insight dropped another album. So of course I was listening to that, and I would just put that on shuffle along with his old album. I would just go ahead and put that on shuffle. So yeah, that's why he's there twice. And then Larry June. So for April, I went back through Larry June's discography because I used to have a playlist of all of his songs on my old one. And instead of just transferring that playlist over, I kind of wanted to recreate it, because I noticed whenever I would listen to it, I would notice like I actually don't like some of these songs that much. And I'm glad that I did. So I went back through his whole discography, listened to all of his albums, listened to all of his songs. I found some new ones that I liked. I found some ones that I already knew that I liked, but then I figured out that I liked a lot more. So yeah, so with that being said, with the artists covered, to get into some of my top albums, there honestly weren't too many like standout albums for me that dropped this year, just because I don't think I was really listening to anything current, and I wasn't listening to a lot of full albums other than like the Insight album and the Mac Miller album. There was nothing that I was like anticipating that I was sitting on waiting to drop. I know there's definitely new drops that I listened to, like the Mariba album. I know I listened to that one, but other than the Insight album and Apollo by Maz B, sorry, that was something that I was sitting on waiting to drop that I loved. Even though it was short, it was only 8 songs. That was an album that I definitely would just throw on, put on repeat for whenever. So some of my favorite songs from the past 4 months, just to list a few, you got Expensive Couches by Larry June, Expensive Couches by Larry June, and Organic Policies by Larry June. Those ended up becoming new favorites of mine that I hadn't heard before. I Hope by Lizzie Burchi, Seance by Insight, Dear Dina by Terrace Martin and Robert Glasper. That's my first like jazz song with no lyrics that I really sat down and I will listen to the whole song all the way through, like no matter what. You got Cellular by King Cruel, My Witness by Mas B. I've talked about that one before, and Love Is Gold by Gremlin. I love Gremlin. I hope that he drops another album this year. I didn't like the one that he dropped last year as much. My favorite music by Gremlin is literally that 3-song EP. But everything else of his, I love that he stays in like a sound, but it doesn't get repetitive, and I really like that about him. So yeah, that's pretty much most of my notable parts of music for this year. And the only concert I went to this year was a Greek concert. I actually just got invited by a friend last second, so it wasn't even a plan. But I actually loved when I first heard Greek's album. I loved it. I was blasting it so long back in like September or some shit. So it was amazing hearing his voice in person. He sounds like it was crazy. He sounds exactly like he did. And I don't know. I think that was maybe my first R&B concert. Hearing like an R&B artist sing and like really like their voice sounded like even better in person. You know what I'm saying? Of course it sounds better. All music sounds better in person, but yeah, that was my first time like actually really experiencing that. So that was cool. I have a Smino concert coming up in a couple of days, so maybe I'll recap that one in the next. Maybe I'll recap that one if I make a recap for this month. But yeah. So with that being said, that's definitely enough about music. We talked about artists, albums, and favorite songs. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into movies. So movies, I didn't think that I actually watched that much, but when I actually went back through the list that I kept, I actually watched a little bit more than I thought I did. So I'm not actually gonna go over too many of them, but just to list off some of the notable ones: Before Sunrise, Midnight in Paris, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Everything, Zodiac, Sinners, obviously, Possum. I watched all 3 of the Terrifier movies, I think. Or I know I watched at least the first 2, and then They Look Like People. So I'm going to just choose random ones that I want to talk about. So Sinners, obviously, that was a great one. I think it was nice to just watch it and not really think too much about the symbolism. The music was very enjoyable. It was a very enjoyable, fun movie. But I do definitely want to rewatch it, you know what I'm saying, with the symbolism in mind and everything. And like watch all like, and you know what I'm saying, see all the Easter eggs and see all the fun stuff that's going on. So I definitely plan to rewatch that at some point. Zodiac, that was my first time seeing Zodiac and really knowing anything about the Zodiac killer and the fact that he wasn't caught and all that. The thing about that movie is that it's crazy to me is that they're basically just like, yeah, it was this guy, like he did it, but he died before like we really had any concrete evidence, so like we really can't pin it on him. At least that's what I took away from the movie. But I feel like everybody always whenever they talk about the Zodiac killer, they're like, oh nah, he's out and about somewhere, he was never caught, you know what I'm saying? But like most likely the chances are that he's dead. If that was accurate, I'm assuming the movie was accurate. If it was accurate, most likely he's dead. You know what I'm saying? Everything was a cute movie. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I really didn't like that movie that much. I did, honestly, and I definitely would rewatch it. But I just think that like everything was just in his head. Like I can't. I don't know. Like there. I guess that's kind of the whole concept of the movie, right? But it didn't necessarily seem like the thoughts and the things that he was having were like rooted in reality. Like, of course, the memories were real to a sense. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the feelings were real to a sense, but it was also like at the end of the day, y'all did not fuck with you. I don't know. At the end of the day, she went and, you know what I'm saying, made the decision to forget about you. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, y'all's relationships must have run its course. But because of the way that I don't know. I think I have to watch that one again to like really understand it. Because my first impression was just like, bro, all that shit was just in his head. But at the end of the day, like they did meet at the end. So maybe it was, I'm assuming it was from both sides. Like it was mutual, but I don't know. Either way, Midnight in Paris, I just watched that one. It was definitely a take on like nostalgia, and I think that kind of helped me low-key like process some things that I'm going through, because I think I've talked about this before, but I get so fixated, and I will focus and focus and focus and just think and rewrite the past in my head. And not even like a past era. I wish I was in a past place. Literally just like a year ago. I wish I made different decisions, because then I would have got to this place faster or whatever. But it's like all of that. I always think all of that, and I always run through, what if I did this differently and did this differently and did this differently? Then I would end up here, and then we would have. But then it's also like, at the end of the day, I usually end up in a place that I'm satisfied in. I usually end up with a place that I want to be in. And that's what I always think about, is like, yes, I would go back and I would relive 2024 to a T and make so many different decisions. I genuinely would. But I also wouldn't want to give up where I am right now. So if I had to go through all of that bullshit that I did in 2024 and make all those dumbass decisions that I did in 2024, and end up right here, right now, then it was worth it in a sense, you know. But it's also like, but yeah. So this movie just kind of helped me like get out of that mental cycle that I've been in of just repeating my mistakes and just what I could have done differently and everything. And sometimes I just need a reminder that like to be grateful of where I am right now. And I have been ever since like the past couple of days. I've been super content. I feel like I've talked about this before. I've felt like super just like out of place for like pretty much the whole year up until this point. Maybe it's because I moved out. It's my first time living on my own. It's my first time being in a new environment, new all that bullshit, right? But like the past couple days, really since I've watched this movie, it's really helped me feel like at peace and content with the place that I'm in, and just a lot more grateful. Not that I was never grateful to be in the position that I'm in, just that like, I don't know, maybe it just clicked something in my brain for me. I'm not sure. And then the last movie we'll talk about is the Before Sunrise trilogy. So I did really like this movie, and I don't know, I just like the fact that it didn't try to like, at least Before Sunrise, I'm gonna talk specifically about that one. I definitely would watch all of them again. I really did like them. And I think it would be nice to watch them with somebody else, and you know what I'm saying, bounce thoughts of each other, because most of these movies I did watch by myself. Sinners is the only one I watched with other people. But yeah, in the first movie, I just think they didn't try to perform. It didn't try to do too much. It literally just kind of like showed the experience of two people getting to know each other. But it also, I think, very well displayed, which is something that I've been kind of like contemplating on my own, is the differences between two people when they're trying to get in a relationship, and how much does that play a factor in, you know what I'm saying, their willingness to be together. Because obviously the two protagonists were very different, you know what I'm saying. The one girl, she's from, I don't even remember where she's from, France, and then the dude's from America, you know what I'm saying, and they're talking, and they have like differing views on almost like everything they talk about, it seems. But yet they're still able to have a discussion about it. They're still able to talk about it. And they're able to not even like disagree on it, really. They're able to still come to an understanding of it, of each other's perspectives, and respect the other's perspectives. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that was really interesting, because I just always think about like how different can two people be, yet still be compatible and still be considering each other to be in a relationship with. Because, you know what I'm saying? You can be attracted to somebody, of course, and you can see somebody to be in a relationship with, right? But y'all can also be very different in a lot of ways. And at what point does that come in between the way that y'all can facilitate a relationship together, or even want to facilitate a relationship together? And I guess that just comes with choosing what compromises to come to with your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you willing to compromise for your partner, and what are you willing to be like, okay, yeah, like, I don't agree with her or I don't agree that this maybe should be handled in this way, but you know what I'm saying, I can compromise with her on that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That was just something that kind of like related to me, especially at the time that I had watched it. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the movies that I watched. I definitely would recommend anything on this list. Same with the music, bro. I don't know. I don't know, but it's all my stuff. It's all stuff that I really like. Of course, I would recommend it, but I would recommend it because I like it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So now onto the next section. The next section is books. I only read one book. Well, I didn't even read one book. I tried to read one book this entire time. And this entire time, I tried to read one book. In March, I was like, I'm gonna pick up a book and I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna try to finish it by the end of the month. It did not end up happening. I wanted to read All About Love by Bell Hooks, and I got about halfway into it and I just stopped reading it because I would read it on my lunch breaks and I just stopped taking it to work with me, so I just never kept reading it. And it's over there right now. So it was a super easy read and I definitely want to finish it. But love is definitely a topic that I was kind of consuming heavily just around that time, around like that March, April time, just to I don't know, just because it was intriguing me, just to kind of learn how to love better, but also just things about love in general. That brings me to my next topic, which I put Substack in the book section just because it is reading. Obviously, it's not books, but it is reading. So I could have put it in the social media section, but I think it went better in the reading section because I didn't actually read that much. But so I think I downloaded Substack around like the middle of March, the same time that I got the book. And I ended up reading a lot of things on there and like really resonating with a lot of things on there and finding myself spending a lot of time on there and it being nice to learn. That's what I've always known, that like I will read anything, honestly, or I will read as long as I, you know what I'm saying, like what I'm reading about and I'm engaged and intrigued in what I'm reading about. And I think Substack does a great job at engaging me in what I'm reading about, you know what I'm saying, especially because it's very easy. It's on my phone. I can just choose, read, you know what I'm saying? So to get into some Substack articles that I read and I wanted to share with y'all. So the first two Substack articles I have are kind of on the same topic. That's why I'm going to talk about them together. The first one is To Be Adored is Not the Same as Being Known. And the second one is The Quiet Power of Being Truly Known. And both of these kind of open me up to the idea that loving somebody is more kind of just about knowing them and knowing, you know what I'm saying, knowing the little parts about them, the intricacies of them that make them tick, the things that make them smile, the things that make them anxious, the things that make them, you know what I'm saying, just be curious about your partner as to why they may act a certain way, you know what I'm saying, and knowing how they're going to react in a certain scenario or if you give them this. And that's something that I've kind of always tried to be intent about in my relationships, is paying attention to the details of, or the small details of why, you know what I'm saying, they may act this way, why they may gravitate towards some certain things, or what makes them happy, what makes, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I have always tried to be intent about that. And these just kind of brought me back to like a central, like concrete of like, it is good to be, even in long-term relationships, it's always good to be curious about your partner. Your partner is just like you. They're always changing. They're always growing. And you need to allow room for that growth within yourself, but also growth within them. And you need to allow room for that in y'all's relationship, you know, to get to know them, even as, you know what I'm saying, y'all are still being together. And the first one, more so, To Be Adored is Not the Same as Being Known. I think that one was more just about the concept of like you can be attracted to somebody, you know what I'm saying? And you can do all the cute things for them, you know what I'm saying? You can buy them the flowers, you can go take them on the dates and everything. But if you don't necessarily know them, like at what point does that mean as much? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter. Of course, those things are important. But once you know your partner and you know, oh, I can take her here because she's gonna like this, or you know what I'm saying, vice versa to him or her. I can take my partner here because I know that this is something they've expressed to me that they want to go do, or you know what I'm saying, and I know that their face would just light up if I took them here because they've expressed this, you know what I'm saying. It's better than, you know what I'm saying, that would mean 1,000 times, that would mean so much more to your partner than, you know what I'm saying, I just took her for burgers because I was hungry, or you know what I'm saying, something. I'm not necessarily saying that. Again, I'm not saying like taking your partners on dates just cause it's bad or whatever, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's definitely a level to it of knowing your partner and just doing things for your partner. Does that make sense? That's all I'm trying to articulate. So yeah, and The Art of Asking, that one also kind of goes into that one I talked about recently in the cooking video. Just questions that, it was basically just a whole bunch of questions to have deeper conversation starters, and I felt like that also went into the topic of just getting to know your partner as well. So yeah, Okay, so the next one is You Were My Favorite Season. And this again kind of goes back to the topic that I was just talking about of being different from your partner. She talks about how her and her partner were like complete opposites in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? And yet they still had so much love for each other, and yet they still had so much care for each other. And I just saw a lot of parallels between the differences in their relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I just kind of resonated with that one a lot. And it was like a very soft, quiet read. And it really just, you know what I'm saying? Something you just kind of sit with and just absorb, really. It's not really too much to talk about or to, you know what I'm saying, expand about. But yeah. And then another topic that I was kind of struggling with for a little bit, so this article was called The Reciprocity Paradox. If love seeks to be returned, is it love or the desire to be loved? And I again, there's another YouTube video about this later in this that I did a whole thing about. And the desire to be loved is such an interesting concept in a relationship to me, because of course I think love is best when it's given selflessly, when it's given not expected to be returned. So that's the way that I always try to, you know what I'm saying, give love. Because if I love you, I'm going to love you. You don't have to ask for that. You don't have to tell me that. You don't have to love me back for me to love you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want to be loved and I want to be cared for. And I want, you know what I'm saying? I want somebody to do all the things that I would do for somebody. I want somebody to do the things that I do for them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's selfish at all. I don't think that that's necessarily a problem with that. I think that love is reciprocal. I think that you can give love selflessly to somebody, but especially romantic love, I think that it is reciprocal in some extent. And when your partner maybe isn't giving you the love in the same way that you are or that you are used to, I think it's kind of, I guess, tricky, I want to say, to get to know. And that's, again, goes back to getting to know your partner, but like getting to know how your partner loves so that you can better receive their love, so that you can better give them love, how they receive love. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just all goes back to knowing your partner. And yeah, that just goes back to a time because I felt like I was giving a lot of love and I felt like I wasn't seeing it back in the way that I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? And I don't necessarily think that's unfair of me, but I also think that if you are in a relationship, it is kind of part of that to be like this. Just because this person isn't loving me in the way that I'm looking for or the way that I need or want them to, doesn't mean that they're not loving me in a certain way. Doesn't mean that they're not giving me love how they can. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was a really good read. And then the next article is In a World That Does Not Pause for Us, We Pause for Each Other. And I don't really remember what that article was about off top, and I know I've already done a lot of talking about this, so I think I'll just let y'all go read that. But I'm pretty sure this is that was an article about just kind of like holding space for each other, and in this world that really doesn't even make sense, still like holding space for the small things. I don't know. Again, I really don't remember. I definitely, if that title sounds interesting to y'all, go read, because I really don't remember what that was about. But in the last one, I think, which is kind of just motivation for how I want to move in my life, just in general, it's called Things I'm Choosing Instead of Urgency. And she just talked about a lot about, you know what I'm saying, this fast-paced world that we live in. We got to go. We got to get it. Everybody's doing everything at a young age. Everybody's like, look at me. Shit, I have my own place by 20. Some people would consider that, you know what I'm saying, a young accomplishment or whatever the fuck. But like, I don't know. I'm just living. I don't know. But either way, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is definitely a fast-paced era that we live in, especially with social media. Everybody's trying to push things. Everybody's trying to do things as fast as possible. And like, literally, like, the story of the last 8 months of my life is, bro, I'm trying to move in my own pace, bro. I'm trying to take my time. I'm trying to do things when I feel ready to do things, when it feels right for me to do things. And yeah, this article just kind of helped reinforce that, make that a concrete thing. So yeah, definitely check out, if y'all don't know what Substack is, definitely check it out. If y'all are readers, I'm sure y'all know what it is. But yeah, definitely check out any of these if they seemed interesting to you. So the last topic is going to be YouTube videos. I talked about the desire to be loved in a video already, and then some other ones that I kind of just, I guess more so just creatives that I've kind of been watching recently, but just some notable videos from creatives that I've kind of been consuming more intently. The Power of Patience by Micah. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Living on My Own, How I Build Consistency to Avoid Burnout by Tam May. That was a video that I'm pretty sure I did reference at one point. And Convenience Culture is Killing Our Creative Impulses. Convenience Culture is Killing Our Creative Impulses. Again, that kind of just went to that topic. I watched this video a long time ago, so y'all gonna have to give me a second. But I'm pretty sure that video was kind of just about like how easy it is for us to do everything, and talking about like art mediums as well, and like you can kind of relate it to like AI. Like if I can have AI go make this for me, you know what I'm saying, why would I make it for myself? You know what I'm saying? Like just in terms of that, like the creative impulse, like if you can do something in an easier way, if it's more convenient for you to do it in an easier way, then it's not going to force you to be as creative. You know what I'm saying? Because say like how I kind of got my start was looking at things and being like, or how I got my start when I wanted to like make denim, when I wanted to make clothes, was I would look at things and I would be like, bro, how do I make this? And I would just Google and I would search and I would YouTube, and like I could never necessarily find exactly the process that I was looking for. So I kind of just wing it, and you would just figure it out and be like, oh, okay, this works. And then you'd see a video that references this part and you'd add that, you know what I'm saying? So I think that video is kind of referencing that. Like if you don't have to go necessarily through the struggle to create a piece of art, to create something, if you don't have to be creative in the solution that in a way to come up with a solution, you don't have to be that creative in general. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't have to create, not that you're saying you're not creative just by creating something, but in convenience and in just being like, oh, I can make this like this, it doesn't take that much creativity to do it, as if you were to go and be like, really like dissect something. How do I make this? How do I do this? How do I put it together? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I explained that enough. But yeah, that's kind of what that video was about. How to build consistency to avoid burnout. I definitely think that like earlier in this year, around the time I had first watched this video, like February, January, I was definitely like burnt out from working so much. And even recently, I've been burnt out. So yeah, definitely, I think, again, taking a step back, taking things slower, not forcing myself to be so fast with things, and just taking my time is definitely helping going forward. Just being consistent, because consistency doesn't mean going out 1,000,000 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? You can be consistent going 50. You can go 50 miles an hour and be consistent in that. You know what I'm saying? That's how I want to be. I just want to be chill. I want to be calm, but I want to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? And then the Power of Patience, I guess that all kind of just goes together. Definitely watch any of these videos again, because I'm sure that I did not do these videos justice, because I don't remember these. I kind of watched all these a really long time ago. But yeah, check out these creators. Check out these videos for sure. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I know that I talked about a lot in this video because it was 4 whole months of things. Hopefully the next time I do this, I talk about, you know what I'm saying, a 1 month, and maybe it won't be as long, or maybe I'll be able to explore some topics easier. Basically for the rest of this video, I kind of just gathered some TikToks. So TikTok is really where I go, obviously, to like mindlessly scroll and shit, but it's also where I go to get most of my inspiration for like films, projects, brand stuff that I want to do. So I'm gonna just let some of the idea or inspiration that I'm gonna be I'm gonna just let some TikToks play that I'm gonna be taking inspiration for the rest of this video. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know if y'all want more videos like this. I think definitely doing it a month at a time would be a lot better, so that I could really you know what I'm saying, delve into topics a little bit more. I hope that I did enough on here, and I hope that y'all definitely go take away anything from this video, look at anything y'all found interesting. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.
After tomorrow morning, we're probably never gonna see each other again, right?
You don't think we'll ever see each other again?
What do you think?
Well, gosh, I don't know.
Maybe we should try something different. I mean, it's not so bad if tonight is our only night, right? People always exchange phone numbers, addresses, they end up writing once, calling each other once or twice.
Right, fizzles out. Yeah, I mean, I don't want that. I hate that.
I hate that too, yeah.
Why do you think everybody thinks relationships are supposed to last forever anyway?
Yeah, why? It's stupid.
You think tonight's it, huh? I mean, tonight's our only night.